Right, let's go from the worst threats to the most terrifying ones. Obesity. Ultra-processed food dominates the American food environment. It's engineered to be shelf-stable, cheap, and hyper-palatable, dense in refined carbs, seed oils, sugar, and salt. Light on fiber and micronutrients. Add aggressive marketing, especially to kids, large default portions, and 24/7 availability. And you get a country where roughly 4 in 10 adults live with obesity and many more with overweight. This isn't only about weight, it's a cluster of problems. Insulin resistance, fatty liver disease, hypertension, and inflammation that compound into diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. The geography is uneven. Food swamps, lots of fast food but few fresh options, sit next to food deserts, and both track with poverty and long commutes. Sedentary time rose with screen-based work and entertainment. Sleep is shorter. Stress is higher. Each nudges appetite and metabolism in the wrong direction. What makes it hard to fix is incentive design. Calories from processed products earn better margins than fresh food. Healthcare pays to treat illness, not to prevent it. And time-poor households rationally choose convenience. GLP-1 weight loss drugs are a real shift. But they're expensive, long-term, and don't rebuild food culture. Expect the next decade to hinge on 3 levers: reshaping the food supply, reformulation, labeling, taxes or subsidies, redesigning the built environment for movement, and expanding metabolic screening earlier in life. If you think obesity is the worst threat to America, I must say you are wrong. There are much worse threats that could change America's future in terrible ways. That can significantly affect you as normal people. Iran versus US. When people hear Iran versus US, they usually picture tense headlines, politicians pointing fingers, and that dramatic stock footage of missiles and flags waving in slow motion. But underneath all the theatrics, the reality is, this long-running feud has had real day-to-day consequences for Americans. It's not just about foreign policy, it's about oil prices, trade restrictions, military spending, and global alliances shifting. Every time tensions flare, gas prices in the US start climbing like they're training for Mount Everest. And when gas goes up, everything gets more expensive, from groceries to Amazon deliveries. On top of that, a huge amount of taxpayer money is funneled into defense budgets instead of infrastructure, education, or healthcare. It's kind of like your house roof is leaking, but instead of fixing it, you spend all your savings on a giant fence in the backyard just in case the neighbors start throwing rocks. Prices and paycheck to paycheck living. This one's brutal. Around 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That means the money you make this month is basically gone by the time you pay rent, buy food, subscriptions and cover bills, and God forbid the car breaks down. Because now you're Googling how to fix a radiator with duct tape. Over the last 20 years, wages have stayed pretty much the same while living costs have skyrocketed. Forget buying. Even renting is like playing financial Russian roulette. Even one avocado can cost more than a gallon of gas used to. And the worst part? Most people aren't spending irresponsibly, they're just surviving. This creates a constant low-level stress that messes with mental health, family life, and even productivity at work. It's like everyone's running a marathon, but the finish line keeps moving further away. Democracy issues. On paper, America is the shining example of democracy. In reality, it's complicated. Voter turnout is low, gerrymandering shapes districts like a Picasso painting, and political polarization is so bad that Thanksgiving dinner can feel like a UN peacekeeping mission. Money in politics has turned campaigns into billion-dollar reality shows, where winning often depends more on who can buy more ads than who has better ideas. Meanwhile, basic voting rights are being fought over, like it's the 1800s. The result? A lot of Americans feel like their voice doesn't matter anymore. And when people stop believing their vote counts, democracy doesn't just weaken, it starts to rot from the inside. Housing crisis. The American dream used to be work hard, save money, buy a house. Now it's more like work hard, save money, and still rent a 1-bedroom apartment with 3 roommates and a cat you don't even like. Housing prices in the US have exploded over the last 2 decades, way faster than wages. In some cities, the cost of a home has doubled or tripled in less than 15 years. Renting isn't much better. Landlords keep raising prices because demand is high and supply is low. So people are basically bidding on apartments like it's eBay. And here's the kicker. A huge chunk of houses are being bought not by families, but by corporate investors. They don't live in them. They rent them out at high prices or just hold them like assets. That means regular people are competing with Wall Street for a place to live. Spoiler. The result? More people staying with parents into their 30s, more overcrowded rentals, and a growing homeless population. The idea of owning a home is becoming less of a milestone and more of a myth, like unicorns or affordable avocados. Healthcare affordability. American healthcare is, well, let's put it this way. If you break your arm and don't have insurance, you might walk out of the hospital with your arm fixed, but your bank account broken. The average ER visit can cost thousands, and that's before they even figure out what's wrong with you. Here's the kicker. The system isn't really designed to keep people healthy. It's designed to treat sickness. The incentives are all backwards. Preventative care is expensive and hard to access, but once you're seriously ill, the medical bills pile up. Insurance companies, pharmaceutical giants, and hospital networks profit more when you stay sick longer. It's not health care. It's sick care. And that's terrifying when you realize how many Americans avoid going to the doctor because they're afraid of the bill more than the disease. I don't know if you heard it or no, but there are theories about toothpastes that actually causes your teeth to weaken over time. This is one of those mysterious things that is actually happening right now. Addiction and alcohol. Addiction in the US is a quiet epidemic. Opioids, prescription drugs, alcohol. It's all part of a crisis that's killing thousands every year. And the scary part is, it's not just people on the street. Many addictions start with something legal, like painkillers after surgery or a nightly drink to take the edge off, until it snowballs into something unmanageable. Alcohol in particular is so normalized that warning someone about drinking too much often gets a laugh instead of concern. Yet, alcohol-related deaths are on the rise, and it's often tied to mental health struggles, stress from work, or just trying to cope with the insane cost of living, and the true fact that an alcohol bottle is cheaper than a bottle of water in most states in US. So there's no surprise why people drink alcohol more than pure water. The truth is, addiction is less about the substance itself and more about the environment. And in a country where stress, debt, and social isolation are common, the conditions are perfect for it to thrive. iPad kids and Gen Alpha. And then there's the future, Gen Alpha. These kids have been swiping screens since before they could walk, and some parents treat the iPad like it's the new babysitter. Need to keep your kid quiet at a restaurant? Screen time. Long car ride? Screen time. The problem is, too much screen exposure at such a young age can affect attention spans, social skills, and even emotional development. Teachers are already reporting that some kids struggle with basic face-to-face interaction because their entire early social life happened in pixels. It's not just about tech addiction. It's about shaping an entire generation's brain wiring. And while technology can be amazing for learning, without limits, we might end up with adults who are great at multitasking, but terrible at making eye contact. And don't forget that with this terrible healthcare model, these kids are actually going to be the person that touches your heart in a surgery to bring you your life back. And the worst part is that these kids now are using AI to pass their academic and school exams without any passion to serve the society as future generation. And yet AI is taking the lead of the world. These kids, which surprisingly, their population are rising like hell. For some reasons we already know, they are gonna face unemployment crisis. These kids are only trying to get followers from social platforms like TikTok and Instagram. And this is why, in this ranking, I'll put the iPad kids in the terrible one. Thanks for watching. Peace.